stand tall, never gonna fall. Determination in our eyes, we'll rise above it all. Stand tall with the challenge we face. We stand proud and chase. The bell is our climb, stand clear.
My name's Jamie Honigman, and I'm a member of the board of directors for the Institute of Democratic Discourse. I have the pleasure of speaking with the founder, Hamid Karimianpour, about the vision and critical elements of this organization. Hamid, first of all, thanks for joining. And from a personal standpoint, you were born in Iran and spent your formative years in post-revolutionary Iran. How did those experiences shape your understanding of free expression?
So growing up in post-revolutionary Iran taught me at an early age that words matter and that silence can sometimes become a strategy for survival. People learned not only what could and could not be said, but also when, where, and to whom certain things could be said. Those experiences gave me first-hand exposure to the dynamics of censorship and self-censorship and left a lasting impression on me. At the same time, Jamie, immigrating to the West and eventually to the United States exposed me to a very different tradition, one rooted in constitutional protections and a robust culture of free expression. So having lived under two very different systems has given me a comparative perspective that has profoundly shaped my thinking.
Well, let's talk more about that. How has your background as an Iranian immigrant informed your work with the Institute?
One of the lessons I have drawn from living in different societies is that every culture has its own mechanisms that encourage or discourage expression. In some places, those mechanisms are imposed by the states, like in Iran, for example. In others, they may emerge through social norms, institutions, reputational pressures, or technology. Having experienced different systems has taught me not to take any particular arrangement for granted. Comparison often reveals things that remain invisible to those who have only known one system. So that perspective has been invaluable in helping me think about the strengths, vulnerabilities, and future of free expression in democratic societies.
Mm-hmm. So you've been here many years in the United States, and what's your take on whether or not our country, the United States, is moving in the wrong direction with regard to free speech?
I have noticed a clear deterioration in the state of expression over the past decade or two. This is an uncomfortable truth that we must confront, and this organization was founded precisely because of it. America still remains a far more open society than Iran, and the First Amendment remains robust. But I have observed that people increasingly find it difficult to speak openly. This trend has worsened, particularly with the advent of social media, where the risk of reputational damage has become a major concern for many people.
Can you start by speaking to us about the Institute and your reasons for founding it?
The Institute for Democratic Discourse is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization dedicated to advancing free expression, pluralism, and open inquiry. I founded the organization because I believe healthy democracies depend not only on legal protections for free speech, but also a culture in which people feel able to express their views, listen to one another, and engage across differences.
Yeah, thank you for that. Many organizations already focus on free speech. How is this organization different than the others?
Much of the existing conversation focuses on the First Amendment. They focus on the legal aspects of free speech. Those issues are important, but they are only part of the picture. Increasingly, people face social, cultural, and psychological pressures that can discourage expression even when the government is not involved. We are interested in understanding those pressures and exploring ways to strengthen a culture of open dialogue and intellectual humility.
Well said. You often have used the term the architecture of silence in our conversations. Please share with our viewers what exactly do you mean by that?
So, as I mentioned briefly earlier, historically, censorship was often imposed directly by governments. Today, many forms of silence emerge through decentralized mechanisms like social media, reputational concerns, institutional incentives, and social pressures. People may remain silent not because they are legally prohibited from speaking, but because they perceive the costs of speaking to be too high. Understanding those mechanisms is central to our work.
Well said. Um, some people worry about the discussions about free speech have become politically polarized, and we see different manifestations of that. How does the organization maintain nonpartisanship in this area?
We are committed to principles rather than political parties. The ability to speak freely and to engage respectfully with disagreement is in fact essential regardless of one's political views. We welcome diverse perspectives and strive to create spaces where disagreement can occur without hostility.
Mhm. If you can get a little more specific, what kinds of activities does the Institute plan to undertake?
We support research, public discussions, educational initiatives, and community events that encourage dialogue across differences. We are also interested in the effects of technology, artificial intelligence, and social media in particular, on expression and democratic culture. Ultimately, our goal is to help foster a society in which people are not only legally free to speak, but also culturally empowered to do so.
Yeah, and what makes this work important specifically at this point?
Our democratic republic depends on citizens who can discuss difficult questions openly and respectfully. When fear, distrust, and polarization increasingly discourage those conversations, everyone loses. We believe that strengthening a culture of open inquiry is not merely an intellectual exercise, it is in fact essential to the health and resilience of democratic institutions.
Thanks for that. Very helpful. Final question for you. What would success look like to you for the Institute of Democratic Discourse if we look 10 years from now?
To me, success would mean contributing, even in a small way, to a culture that values curiosity over conformity, dialogue over demonization, and understanding over tribalism. If we can help people engage one another with greater openness and respect, I would consider that a meaningful accomplishment.
Hmm. Well, thank you, Hamid. And maybe most importantly, how can people learn more about the Institute?
So I would recommend people to log on to our website. They can read a lot of information about what we do. There is also a page for getting involved if they are interested to make a donation or participate in our work. please reach out. I have our email address, and there's a contact form as well that they can use to reach out to us.
Well, thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, Jeremy.
for those words, and thank you for watching. Please consider following Hamid personally or the Institute for Democratic Discourse on LinkedIn and on YouTube. We are committed to putting out these kinds of informational videos as we progress as an organization. Thank you.
Thank you.